Morgan Stanley files for Bitcoin and Solana ETF trusts. The Department of Justice sold Bitcoin in violation of Trump's strategic Bitcoin reserve order. Venezuela could hold as much Bitcoin as Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. This is Ledger Prime. Let's dig in. On January 6, 2026, Morgan Stanley filed an S-1 registration statements with the SEC to launch its own spot Bitcoin and Solana exchange-traded funds. The filings were submitted by Morgan Stanley Investment Management and covered two products, a spot Bitcoin trust and a spot Solana trust. The Bitcoin vehicle is designed to track price only. The Solana filing goes further, proposing to stake a portion of its holdings to generate on-chain rewards alongside price exposure. This is the first time a global, systemically important bank has moved from distributing third-party crypto funds to issuing and sponsoring its own. The timing aligns with multiple internal shifts. Morgan Stanley removed client wealth minimums for crypto exposure in late 2025, opened crypto pitching to its full advisor force, and is preparing native crypto trading for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana on E-Trade in the first half of 2026. Next up, the Department of Justice sold Bitcoin despite Trump's strategic Bitcoin reserve order. In early January 2026, U.S. authorities were accused of liquidating Bitcoin that was designated to be held under a standing presidential executive order. The dispute centers on Executive Order 14233, signed in March 2025, which created a strategic Bitcoin reserve and explicitly barred the sale of Bitcoin acquired through criminal or civil asset forfeiture. Under the order, such assets are able to be transferred to the treasury and held as a sovereign reserve. On November 3, 2025, approximately 57.55 Bitcoin was transferred to the Department of Justice following a plea agreement with the developers of Samurai Wallet. Blockchain analysis and leaked asset handling documents indicate the funds were routed to a Coinbase Prime address controlled by the U.S. Marshals Service rather than being transferred to the reserve. As of January 5, 2026, that address showed a zero balance, implying liquidation. Up next, Venezuela could hold as much Bitcoin as Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. As of early January 2026, investigative reports allege that Venezuela may control a Bitcoin reserve comparable in size to the largest corporate holder in the world. The comparison point is MicroStrategy, which disclosed holdings of 673,783 Bitcoin as of January 4, 2026. Parallel reporting from investigative journalists, including Bradley Hope at Whale Hunting, estimates Venezuela's so-called shadow reserve at roughly 600,000 to 660,000 Bitcoin. These estimates resurfaced following a U.S. military operation in Caracas and the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Analysts believe the reserve was accumulated over several years through sanctioned invasions mechanisms, including gold to Bitcoin conversions beginning in 2018, oil sales settled in USDT that were later converted into Bitcoin, and the continued use of seized mining infrastructure after domestic mining was officially banned. If accurate, this would place nearly 3% of circulating Bitcoin supply under potential state control. It does not confirm ownership, custody, or immediate availability of the coins, nor does it imply imminent liquidation. What it does is introduce a credible, sovereign-scale Bitcoin balance sheet that rivals corporate treasuries in size, and that nobody knew was sitting out there. Finally, Vitalik Buterin aims to build Ethereum as the world's computer. Vitalik Buterin published a New Year's roadmap stating that Ethereum must achieve global scale usability and full decentralization at the same time. In the message, Buterin argued that Ethereum's long-term mission as the world computer depends on handling massive throughput comparable to large peer-to-peer networks while remaining resistant to censorship and centralized failure. He emphasized what he calls the walkaway test. Applications must continue to function even if their original developers disappear or if major centralized infrastructure providers go offline. Buterin also stated that the blockchain trilemma, security, scalability, and decentralization has now been solved in practice, not theory. He pointed to two technologies reaching maturity: Peer DAS, which is already live and enables high bandwidth data availability without full node downloads, and ZK EVMs, which entered early production stages in 2026 and allow computation to be verified through zero-knowledge proofs rather than re-execution. If the roadmap executes as described, Ethereum's scaling path becomes less dependent on short-term application cycles and more focused on base layer resilience. It does not remove competition, eliminate fees, or instantly change user experience. It does signal that the core protocol development is shifting from design debates to incremental deployments. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and again, this is Ledger Prime.